everybody, and welcome to Whiskey at Work.
This is another one of your bad ideas.
This is a bad idea because I'm drinking what you paid for. Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Why?
Whiskey at
Every
Work. Just because
bloody time.
it makes you laugh,
It makes me cringe.
and then that makes me feel good.
Knowing that
I've-
makes you feel good.
Knowing
I'm
that I
sure.
put you in a good mood.
That's it. Yeah.
It's Rob
Keep going.
and Mark and Gabe is back with us.
Hello.
Man, it is good to see you again, buddy.
Very, very lovely to be back.
Yes, right away.
The Patrick reference is back.
Let's get the Dan Bruner reference out in this.
We had
he
to.
had.
That was Patrick.
Yeah,
that
well-
said the new riff was lovely.
That's right.
The one that I
that's
picked.
True. That's right. And we got that in there too.
We'll get Dan's swallowable out later.
No, I think that was you.
That was me actually. Yep.
You were on the swallow.
and on the swallow.
Kelsey was swallowable.
That's
Was that what it
right.
was?
Yes.
Kelsey.
God,
Yeah, we miss Kelsey a little bit once in a while.
we got to get some merch.
That
We
was
do.
early on.
Those were the early days,
very-
the growing days,
Very swallowable.
the days when we were figuring this whole
Unoffensive. That's good.
unoffensive. There we go.
Burnt tar-like.
Hey, man, it's good.
I should drink
All
that.
right.
Well,
Remember when you were on the playground on a hot summer day and you were picking the tar out of the? You thought, well, yeah, I should eat that.
what
No, I'm
what
kidding.
kind of school did you go to,
You didn't
Rob?
have
That's
you didn't have tar that filled in the cracks on the
don't.
playground.
Yeah, but we never touched them. We knew that
Oh.
was toxic and it was hot, and you didn't play with it. God, that says a lot about a lot
About
of
the North
things.
Dakota education system,
Right.
just a hair better than.
No, Gabe is back because Gabe actually sends some of the best messenger messages I get
Oh, God.
on Facebook. Well, no, they're the ones who'll be like, "Hey, look at this bottle. You guys want to drink it?" We're like, "Yes, absolutely, we do." So,
That's a generation gap. Who uses Messenger for that?
well, Gabe,
I can
now-
start
but
sending
now
emails. I'll send emails from now on.
we'll get a handwritten note.
You're
from Gabe.
like
Dearest Rob, it's been a fortnight since I last wrote you.
you're more apt to get a response from me on
dear
an
Lord.
email.
On an email. No, now that I have Gabe's phone number, he made the mistake of putting that in a group text with Dan. Now that I've got it.
Oh, yeah.
So, so we'll go purely to texting now. But we did get, you sent me a Facebook message with this bottle of Scotch that neither Rob and I had ever heard of before, which was kind of surprising to me, honestly. But then getting to know you, I should know better at this point.
It's like, this guy's really weird. I don't know.
Well, we're still sticking by that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. But this was, when I first saw the picture of it, when you sent it, it looked like a bottle of wine to me. And I thought,
It really does look like a white wine.
why is he sending that to us?
You guys aren't into wine?
Not.
This
not
isn't
at all.
the
I'm not
wine-
into wine at all. No.
wine at work?
There's no.
There should be.
We could start that. So
I'm in.
how? Well, that might be a silly question for you. Well, no. How or why did you come across something like this that I don't think anybody outside of true Scotch, maybe aficionados, would really know existed?
Yeah. So one, Compass Box, it's the overarching brand, right? Their artwork is second to none. Like when you see this on a shelf, like love it or hate it,
In the whiskey section.
it grabs your attention. Like does that belong there? Why is
Right.
that there?
I am on the hate it section of it though, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't like it for a whiskey.
It's weird, and I'm telling you, right, this isn't the weirdest one. I'll have to send you all a picture of all their releases. Every single one, it's awesome, or weird, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
But what's so cool about each release they put out and the artwork they put into it is their artwork reflects what's in the bottle. So this one, Orchid House, and I can tell you right now, this is like springtime in a glass.
Good.
It is
we could
like-
use a little of that.
Apples and pears and citrus and lemon is very fresh and clean, and that's what the artwork displays. It's bright and look at me, I'm here and I'm fresh.
It's a little bit. It reminds me just in color and dynamic a little bit of the Japanese seasoned by whiskey that we had. Right.
What is that one?
Shunkashuto?
The Shunkashuto, this
right?
4 seasons. They got the spring, summer, fall, winter versions. Yeah, and there you go.
It's
you
not.
nailed it.
They're not quite this colorful, but
No.
but it's
Very reminiscent of that.
the way that he said it reminds me of that.
And Scotch is always, to me, the bottles are always very classy
Yeah.
and very clean.
Yeah,
You
Compass
know?
Box goes against a lot of the stereotypes.
So
for Scotch.
what's the background of this company then? Do you know
so
that kind of
it
off
was
the bat?
founded. I can't remember exactly when it was founded, but the guy's name is John Glazier.
Okay.
He did something in the whiskey industry. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he got tired and just wanted to start doing things his own way. So he started what is now known as Compass Box, and they don't distill anything. They're what's called an independent bottler. So they take things from other distilleries and they blend them, and they blend them very, very well. John Glazier is a mad scientist / genius. He does some weird things, like they did one where they took super old grain whiskeys and mixed it with young malt whiskeys, and they have, I mean, I could go on and on about the different weird things they've done, but everything they put out is solid. It's an integrity malt, and it's delicious. It's all non-chill filtered, no added coloring. What you're getting is a very good representation of the distillery.
Well, and that brings up a pretty interesting question that I don't think a lot of people that would listen to Rob and I would know.
I'm kind of surprised anybody listens.
When it comes to Scotch, is it about, I would say, I don't know, anywhere from 85 to 90% of Scotch is all blended Scotch, correct? Is that pretty close?
Yeah, I would say the majority of what most people think of when they think of Scotch who aren't into Scotch, they
Right.
think of your blends. So
Right.
you've got your Johnny Walkers, Chivas.
Sure.
I mean, you can go on and on about blends, but yeah, biggest two probably Johnny Walker and Chivas. And up until maybe late 90s, 2000s, that's what most people drank. Most people drank
Sure.
the blended scotches. Lately and nowadays, it's all about the single malt. Unfortunately, this category is what's called a blended malt. So it's a blend of multiple single malts.
Okay. So because we were talking about like a single malt is it's still a blend of different casks, but from the same distillery,
It is.
right?
So a single malt is essentially, it's two words. Single meaning one distillery, and malt meaning 100% barley.
Okay.
So when you have
Malted barley.
malted barley, yep. So Glenfiddich 12, that's a very common one. It's all from Glenfiddich distillery, and all 100% barley, but it's a mix of whatever casks they have at a minimum of 12 years old. That's what the 12 is for. The age statement is the youngest
Right.
distillate in the bottle.
Right. So it could have technically 16, 18,
Oh, yeah.
20-year-old Scotch in there, but it has to be labeled as the youngest.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've been over that part.
Right.
That part I think we've gotten and understood. But you riddled out three
Well,
or four or five
okay.
different.
When you look down this list, this is what surprised me so much. It says there are 5 legally defined categories for Scotch.
Okay.
Is that seems
That's about
Okay.
right. What is it?
blended Scotch whiskey,
Okay.
blended malt Scotch whiskey.
Yep. And that's what this is.
That's what this one.
That's a
the
blended
category-
malt.
That's
Yep.
to
That's a
define
common-
that
that's a-
multiple distilleries using a single malt
Right. So
Scotch.
I'll lay this out
or
really
malted Scotch.
Yeah,
Single malt would
really
define it.
simply is, so you have single malt, single grain. Single malt, one distillery, 100% barley. Single grain, one distillery, 100% whatever kind of grain. That can be corn, wheat, rye, barley. It can be whatever. Then you have blended malt, which is more than one distillery, 100% barley, and then blended Scotch. And that's multiple distilleries. It can be anything. You also do have a blended grain category, but that's very seldom. You don't see that very often.
Okay, so is there a Scotch that is not blended?
Yes, that would be anything from one distillery that is a single cask.
Okay, so
release.
it'd be like a Jack Daniel's single barrel.
Yes.
It'd be very
Yep.
similar. So do any big name Scotches ever make something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
they really?
Single cask releases.
Yeah, you're
are
not affording any of those.
They
Well,
are
maybe not.
expensive. Like some of the most renowned ones are the Macallan. Macallan
Sure.
makes single casks. They range from anywhere from $9,000 to thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
And I'm assuming you didn't mean $9 on the
900, yeah. So $9.
$9. Up to
I wish.
thousands. Yeah.
I wish.
Well, that's okay.
He'd need more shelves.
But I think, well, every whiskey technically, isn't it? Is if it's not a single barrel, is a blended whiskey, right? Even a bourbon or a Scotch. I mean, it's all
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
for the most
technically.
part, yeah.
right.
It blended in that sense.
Sure.
The thing that I think was confusing to you or me,
It was probably me.
specifically, it was that, when it says single malt, you think that it's one barrel of malted whiskey, which it's not. The single refers to the number of distilleries involved.
Right. That's what throws me every time I see this.
You want to get confused even further?
Sure,
No,
why not?
check
I mean, throw
This
it at
out.
me.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Check
I'm
this.
ready.
I'm going to
Hit
throw
me.
you in. All right.
Go
so
ahead.
sometimes, quite to my dismay and anger, sometimes single cask doesn't even mean from one cask.
Okay, then how can it even be called that?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
It blows my mind.
They're English or
So-
Scottish.
Scottish.
They play with the English
Glendronach,
language as well as they want.
So it depends on your interpretation of single cask, because again, the Scotch Whisky Society or Association or whatever doesn't always have legally binding terms for certain things.
Okay.
Single cask is one of them. So a single cask, in my mind, if I buy a single cask, that means to me it spent its whole life in one
Right.
cask, one barrel. That's it. Well, you have certain distilleries like Glendronach, who I do like, but they got in trouble a few years ago because people found out that they were calling things single casks, but it was actually switched from cask to cask to cask, and they call that re-racking. So it's the same distillate. It never mixes other distillates, but it goes to different barrels. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
Try that one on.
That's kind of a big deal. I mean, that is a big no.
I wonder that would depending on the age of the cask might give it more
So
flavor.
the reason
though,
they
right?
do it is right. It's basically, it comes down to cask control. If you have a cask that is old and as the whiskey gets older, it starts to leak more, they can't save the cask. They'll re-rack it into a different cask. Ideally, and again, this is purely my opinion, I don't want that to be called single cask. You
Right.
can call it single casks or, single cask twice re-racked or something. You know what I mean?
It's a second cousin
Like-
once removed. I mean,
But yeah, in my mind,
there's got to be a better definition
Right.
of that if you're going to take the same liquid and put it in different
so just
containers.
take everything with a grain of salt. Not everything is what you think it would be on the surface.
so that that sort of is blending then in a nutshell. I don't know if we
but they're not
explained it super
blending
well,
it with
but
anything. They're
No.
just putting it in a different vessel, right?
right. Well, I'm just talking in general now. I mean, that's
Yeah,
so we're
no.
kind of covering the blend and how that works with Scotch. That almost all of the Scotch you really enjoy. If you're going to go drink, like I said, Glenfiddich's probably the most popular Scotch. But it's all a blend. It's all being mixed together with something from the same
Glenfiddich
distillery.
is your
Right.
most popular Scotch.
No,
I
but
bet-
it's
I bet
generally the
somebody
most
else out there
popular
was-
Well, it's just like in bourbon, you
Jack
have
Daniel's.
like small batch. What
Right,
does that?
there
What
we
does
go.
that mean?
Yeah.
Like
'Cause
small
that could
batch
be
to
like-
some people is 100 barrels. To others, like Elijah Craig, it's thousands.
Right.
Like,
That can be from
who knows?
10 barrels to
Well, when it comes to our distillery, that is a small batch.
what?
I'm making shit up.
Can we drink this?
Yes.
Because I'm
I don't want Rob to get
Hawk
out over here.
I'm just glad you said it because I've been jonesing now for 10 minutes.
He's looking at me like,
Well, I'm just so confused. But I mean, the blending thing, and again, it comes back to the word single, and I think a lot of people when they see that in front of single malt, single grain, that it's describing that.
right.
But it's
and it's weird
distillery.
because single, again, they don't have anything to do with each other. The word single is not describing the malt. It's its own word and its own meaning. And you got to think about it that way.
It should be single period, malt period, Scotch.
It smells like apple juice.
Yes.
It smells almost
Look
exactly
what's on
like
the,
apple
Look what's
juice.
on the artwork. What's
Well,
on Orchid
yeah,
House? Wow.
Shut up, Rob. I'm still learning this. All right. I don't have the refined palates
So
of.
let me give you a quick rundown of what's in this
Okay.
bottle here. So it's 39% 8-year-old linkwood.
Now that's the distillery, right?
That is the distillery.
Okay.
Yep. So 39% of this is 8-year-old linkwood in first fill bourbon barrels. 29% is Clonelish 8-year-old in first fill bourbon barrels.
I'm noticing a trend.
Yeah.
Okay.
20% Ben Rhines 8-year-old in.
First filled
Yeah.
bourbon barrels.
And now this is where it kind of throws you for a loop. So 8% of this is Abelauer 6-year-old in Oloroso sherry cask.
So there's a name I know in the Scotch world.
Mm-hmm.
Oloroso.
No, the
Abelauer?
Abelauer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they make the Abunda or
Right.
Abuna, whatever
Right.
you pronounce
Okay.
that. And then we have 2% Kalila or Kalila 8-year-old. That's a peated whiskey.
So there's a
There's a little bit of peat in this.
I
Very,
don't-
very
Pretty light.
tiny bit.
I don't smell any of that.
I think that's just for the
It's just to add a little bit of
vegetation part of it.
Oh God. Yeah, there's burnt tire in this.
So that's a lot of scotches to be blending, and I can't imagine the experimentation and the time it takes
Oh, he's
to come up with something like
so
this.
John Glacier and another guy named John Saxon. I think John Saxon is the one who blended this. He's equally a evil genius. Very great guy. There is.
You said spring in a bottle, and holy smokes, you're right.
Oh yeah.
It's super light.
Oh my, that's really really good.
You like that?
I do like this.
Oh man.
Because I like
Bruner, make it happen.
I like sweeter bourbons or scotches to begin with.
Right.
I mean, I do like a little more of that sweet in there over anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm just surprised that you can tell it's Scotch.
Yeah.
You know right when you take that 1st
Even this first sniff, you can tell.
yeah.
But man, that bourbon barrel, that first fill bourbon barrels at a young age, it does fantastic things. All honey and sweet, and
right.
young citrus and fruits.
See, that's why I like the Glenfiddich that 14 so much, because it's all in the bourbon barrels too.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Now, first fill, this is why I love Scotch so much, is because the variety and the amount of combinations you can do is outrageous. So first fill bourbon barrel, that means this is the first time since it's held bourbon that it's been used. So you're getting a very high bourbon cask impact here.
Right.
You also have second, third, and fourth fill, which sounds exactly what they are. It's the second time it's been used. But this is all fresh bourbon barrel cask.
The only
Well,
thing
they got to do something with all them bourbon barrels, so they might as well.
well, I mean, like I say, originally Scotland was using the barrels that they had the fish heads in and everything, and realized this just tastes terrible. We've got to do something else. And then they went to the wine barrels, and then once the bourbon popped up over here in America, they're like, well, let's try those too.
Maybe
So
we're on to something.
well, I think they were on to something initially, and they just learned how to make it better. Bourbon isn't the best of everything, Rob,
That's
to
arguable.
you.
That's arguable.
Anyway, Compass Box Orchard House. This is, I just love it because it's so different, because it's so
is.
unique from anything else, from any other Scotch I've ever had.
And that's what I love about Compass Box. Everything they do, not only do they do it well, but it is unique. It's just everything they put out, it's just different.
Do you have a price point on this, Gabe?
This was $45.
Oh, see, that's even better. If
Yeah.
you can find a good Scotch
Yeah.
under $50,
I would agree with that.
then you pick it
No,
up.
this is a hardcore hitter for $45.
So and we can't get it around here, though, can we? It's not in this
I've-
market yet, is
I've
it?
never seen it here.
So what do we? Yeah, we've really
I can
again.
find you one.
I love how the eyebrows went up too when you did that, Gabe. That was very, very undercover. Loved it.
That's like the guy standing on the corner. What you need, buddy?
Well,
I can hook you up.
If I went to Gabe and asked that, I would expect his coat to come over and there's just Scotch bottles hanging.
Which
off
can you
the
want?
inside.
Little
clanking.
samplers. It's like here, got a Rolex,
And some Compass Box.
Gucci bags.
Oh God.
This is wonderful, Gabe. Thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. So we'll wrap it up with your kind of mini review of it here. Okay.
Yeah. Well.
So
let's see if you guys agree. So I said on the
will.
nose, it was very fresh and light, very malty and crisp apple.
absolutely, 100%.
Vanillas, citrus, honey. It's
See,
springtime in a glass.
That's where I'm amazed. I got to the apple cider, kind of that, and then you rattled off 4 other things. I'm like,
Yeah,
So my nose is all the way. Did I get the? I don't know.
Tastes
I
like
don't
chicken.
get that.
It's like chicken in a glass. It's
There we
great.
go.
that is not
Okay.
true. It does taste nothing like
They just
chicken.
come out with a race called Popeyes.
Compass box, Popeyes. So then, what do you get when you're tasting it, Gabe?
So, I said there's a sugariness to it, but it's not it's not artificial. It's like a barley. Reminds me of like bourbon sugars, like oaky cask sugars. I said fruity, pears, citrus, again, sweet, light vanilla, apple, and melon hard. And then it's just overall very clean and fruity and fresh.
Yeah, there isn't a lot after you swallow it. There's really nothing there anymore. Everything to me in this is right in your mouth. There's nothing that goes with you. I mean, like I said, I kind of like a little burn on the stuff I'm drinking. But sometimes if it was, if it's July and it's 89 degrees here, you could sit outside and sip this and you wouldn't feel like you were drinking anything heavy.
This is what I love about this. This is something that I would give to someone getting into Scotch who wants an easy sipper to start the night with. This is a very good introduction to Scotch. You get multiple distillery profiles. It's just easy. It's not offensive.
Right.
Right? It's
It's lovely.
and at $45, I mean, this is I wish I could always have one.
So you start the night with this, and you end up with the Lafroig Dark,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever they're.
Yeah, I'm out.
When I pull that out, it's time to leave.
Then everything's going to get super philosophical, or Gabe just wants you out of the house at that point.
You guys want some Lafroy? You can hang out for a bit.
Time to go.
The
Gabe,
party's just getting started.
awesome, man. Thank you for bringing this down. This
is nice.
it is. It's. I wish we could get it around here. We'll talk to Dan Bruner at Timmons Markets.
Make it happen, Dan.
Dan, we need you to make this happen somehow because, if we want to really start introducing a lot of people to Scotch, Gabe knows the place to start. And
This is. You said Bruner found this somewhere on a.
Yeah,
trip
he
somewhere.
was. I don't even remember where he was, but yeah, he sent me a picture of a bourbon, and was like, what about this? I was like, yeah, it's cool. And then right hand corner, blurry.
Out of focus.
I just like, that's a Compass box. I want you. Give me that one.
well, you made a good call, Gabe, and a really good call. So this, I would highly recommend. This is
So
delicious.
do these guys have? I mean, you said they have a number of flavor profiles. Do they have things that are? You say springtime in a bottle.
I saw one they have that's called
Are
the
there
Peat
one-
Monster.
Oh, that's my favorite
Yeah,
one.
I'm
of course it is.
That's my favorite one. I love that one. I'll bring that one next.
You don't have to. That's okay. We're fine with that.
But do they follow a theme, or do
They follow
mix
the
the stuff and then name it afterwards? Or
Yeah, they just kind of make things, and then once they're like, oh, this is good, they find something to call it, something weird. Like they had one called the 3-year deluxe, and it's basically, it makes fun of that rule in Scotch that the youngest whiskey in the bottle is what it has to be age dated. So what they did is they took a teaspoon of 3-year-old whiskey and then mixed it with like 20-year-old whiskey. But because there's 3-year-old whiskey in it, they call it a 3-year-old deluxe.
Perfect.
So, yeah, they're
clever.
just funny. They're just,
like
I
guys
love
I'm
that
gonna
them.
have to
clever.
look this up.
Yeah. Well, it's right there on the. You can scroll through it on the TV
them as
right
a
there.
whole,
Got it.
not just this bottle.
You could do research before too. Sometimes it makes these better when you when you look.
I'm
some stuff
comic
up with
relief.
me. Sure. The color guy.
I'm the sidekick. Yeah, I don't need
I'm the guy who drinks. Get over it.
and those things. All right,
That's
Gabe.
right.
Thank you, buddy. Compass Box, Orchard House. It's a great place to start if you want to drink some Scotch. You just can't find it around here unless I don't know, a couple of guys that might have a bottle. All right, yeah.
There's only one
worry
guy
about
here
it.
that has
There
a
is
bottle.
only one guy that's got a bottle. That's right.
and he's not here to share it with you all the time, so you're gonna have to know him.
Thank you very much for hanging out with us again
Thanks, Gabe.
here at Whiskey at Work. Gabe,
Cheers.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
it as always, buddy.
Anytime.